Fantasy anime. I guess in the recent years, fantasy anime has kind of been mixed with isekai. Nowadays, we have dedicated fairy tales without the need for isekai or reincarnation to another world type of tropes. But as we see in shows like Machoka Tensei, Frieren, and the new show Wisteria. Today guys, we have a video made by Grant saying fantasy is entering a new era. So let's just check out this video by Digok. Let's see what's going on and let's see how fantasy is entering this new era. Let's go.
Get that stuff out of here. Me and the boys are watching some real fantasy. This year.
Not gonna lie, that show, I got reincarnated as a vending machine. It really burned me out of isekai. Cause man, I mean, it was the most ridiculous shit I'd ever seen. Imagine being reincarnated as a vending machine. Come on, like, there's gotta be more better ideas than that.
Feels like we've seen a full-on resurgence of fantasy anime. Not soy boys getting transported to another world. No more, I got reincarnated as toilet paper. Now I wander the world, letting elf girls wipe me. Oh, it's depressing.
That would be a good show. I mean, isekai is ridiculous. We have the most stupidest isekai, but it works.
See that being a thing. Just pure hard fantasy, taking the genre back to its roots with two shows leading that charge. Frieren and Dungeon Meshi, two fantastic fantasy
those are good
series
ones.
that shine in completely different ways and have left their mark on the anime community this year. But if you're a fully functioning adult and learned how to count properly in kindergarten, you may notice that this is only two shows taking the spotlight.
Honestly, I'm seeing a new surgence of new big three because Frieren honestly took a new spot because I think Attack on Titan had finished, so we of course now Frieren is taking the spot of one of the top anime of this generation.
And as we all know, that is illegal in the anime community. I mean, what are we gonna call this? The Big Two? Yeah, no thanks. I think I'd rather take 2 steps off the Empire State Building. Thank you. Okay, wait, that's because as we all know, everything in the world has to come in threes. Shonen manga, film trilogies, degenerates. But what if I told you there is a fantasy manga that can stand up to these 2 shows? A fantasy that excels in something totally different from the hard-hitting story of Frieren or the insane world building of Dungeon Meshi. A series that already has an anime confirmed for 2025, which means, yes, ladies and gentlemen, we are on the cusp of a fantasy big 3. That's right, gamers. I'm here to talk about the next big fantasy anime. Demon Slayer. I mean, Witch Hat Atelier.
Witch Hat Atelier.
I honestly think this is going to be the next big fantasy show to take over the anime community. But before we get into pure fantasy...
So, for me, when it comes to in terms of predicting what is going to be the next big anime, that is very difficult. You can't really predict where anime can go, of like, what is the next... I never really thought Oshinoko would have been the biggest song. Imagine that song of Idol. It's the biggest anime song of all time. And you don't really expect shows like that to reach a certain level because it just has to hit the industry in a different way like no other show has.
First, I want to talk about Isekai again because this video members given this video, and now back to the video. When you were a kid, I'm sure you thought to yourself, I can be whatever I want to be, do anything I want to do when I'm a grown-up. Unfortunately, if you want to do magic, in the world of Witch Hat Atelier, that's a privilege only given to witches, and only a few people in the world can ever become witches. Coco wants to be a witch, because as we all know, witches get bitches. I don't think that's Coco's primary motivation.
It's interesting to see that this anime is in a world of magic. Usually we see some of the best shows, for example, Frieren, Machoka Tensei, and of course the new show Wisteria. I am very skeptical because I don't think that's a proper direction for anime to go in the whole magic mage world. But who knows? It hasn't came out. But all I'm hoping for is the 3 things that they must focus on doing is story, great animation, no 3D, and of course, direction. The show needs to have a great story, good direction, and great animation. Those are the only three things the show must mainly focus on.
The closest she's ever gotten to magic is a book she bought from this mysterious witch on the street corner when she was a kid. And
That's a first mistake.
just look, remember kids, don't be like Coco. Don't talk to strangers, say no to drugs, and for God's sakes, don't go accepting magic book from shady looking people in the back alley, okay? Especially if that book smells like pee-pee. One day though,
True.
the village gets a visit from a real witch, Keyfrey, who finds himself in a circumstance of having to cast a spell to help out. But before he does, he goes to Coco and tells her, okay Coco, I have a very important task for you. Whatever you do, make sure nobody, I repeat, nobody sees me cast this magic. This is very important. Do
Okay.
you understand? Coco immediately watches Keyfrey casting his magic, and what she sees is him drawing some shapes. Shapes that look eerily similar to some of the patterns in the magic book she has. She thinks, I wonder what would happen if I tried drawing some of these patterns myself. Destroys
Goodness.
the house, commits a Class A felony, and turns her mother into stone.
Damn, bro. Like, don't accept shit from strangers.
The industry, we call this an oopsie daisy. With her parent
Yeah.
acquiring the new status of Mum the Rock Johnson, Keyfrey decides to take Coco under his wing in hopes that he could find out more about this mysterious witch that sold Coco that book as she begins her journey into the world of witchcraft and wizardry. Witch Hat Atelier presents itself initially as your typical coming-of-age story in a fantasy world of magic. So you may be wondering, what does this series do to allow it to stand up to the fantasy juggernauts of Freeren and Dungeon Meshi? Freeren.
Because Freeren and Dungeon Meshi, they never really had anything special about them, especially Dungeon Meshi. Dungeon Meshi has the worst hook I've seen of anime recently. The only reason why I watched the show, it was like the only show that was on Netflix and I was kind of bored. And then it was actually a compelling story. But then compared to like Freeren was also pretty hard to get into, but once you're into it, it hits you like a storm. You know, you're hooked. You are hooked. So it's very hard for me to see how this anime will actually compete with these big juggernauts. It'll be interesting to see. And even if it doesn't, at least we got another good fantasy anime.
Gave us a beautiful, introspective tale about the passage of time and appreciating the important things in life while you can that hits harder than most anime ever could. While Dungeon
True.
Meshi's world building is some of the most intricate and well thought out I've ever seen, crafting a living, breathing ecosystem that doesn't just feel alive, but you get a sense that it's also fully functional, like you're stepping into a life-size fantasy terrarium. So what does Witch Hat bring to the table? Great art? Got that. Interesting characters? Got that. But the real thing that sets apart is that, in short, it has one of the most interesting magic systems I've ever seen in anime or manga. A hard magic system that not only lays the groundwork for creativity and imagination, but is also engraved in a core part of the world building to present us with the interesting moral conflicts contained within this story. But most importantly, it's just pretty damn cool. Right, so I'm gonna spend
Interesting hearing that. I don't know if that will hit with the kids nowadays. I don't know if that would be interesting, but we shall see.
the next few minutes nerding out about magic systems, but to do so, I'll have to explain to you how the basics of the system works. So get out your notepads, everyone, because we're going back to school. Hello, class, and welcome to Magic 101.
And that's the problem right there. That's a big problem. You can't now expect people to give a damn about the lore. Like, why should I now give a damn about the whole lore, the whole magic system? But hopefully it will have something compelling for us to give a damn about the lore, the magic, and all of that. We shall see.
Well, I'll be teaching you the basics of how magic works in Witch Hat Atelier. Any questions? No, Timmy, you may not go to the bathroom. I don't care if you're desperate, just shit yourself like every other self-respecting kid. In the world of Atelier, magic is cast by drawing seals, which look like this. And these have to be drawn with special conjuring ink. And that's it. No special enchanting, no custom-made Gamer 3000 RGB magic wand. All you need is some special ink and the basic ability to draw, which means essentially anyone can do magic.
I don't care about this. Like, who cares? Like, who cares? I don't care. I need to watch the show for me to give a damn, you know?
Right. That's the core basics of the magic system in Witch Hat Atelier, and I thought it was such a genius system because the core building blocks are simple enough that anyone can understand, but by iterating on these basic concepts, it can get increasingly complex that makes you just think about magic in a totally different way. When you have a grasp of the basics, then you can start doing stuff like linking spells for more powerful effects, nested glyphs where you can enclose multiple spells into a bigger spell to get more complex effects, spell toggling where, for example, you draw two halves of a spell on a shoe, then bring them together to complete the ring so you can quickly toggle the spell's effects on and off. Different wands to help witches draw on specific surfaces. From the approaches they take to the tools they use, everything has been carefully thought out, like these tools have been crafted to logically solve a problem if this magic system were to exist. And I have no better way to encompass all
Okay, it's kind of catching me. I like it. It sounds pretty interesting. I would read the manga, but I hate reading manga if there's gonna be an anime anyway. But it's good. It's good. It sounds interesting.
this other than saying it's just so fucking cool. This might be a bit of a
True.
curveball, but in a sense, the magic system here was actually a bit reminiscent to me to coding. God, I never thought my coding course in university 13 years ago would finally come in handy. At its most basic, coding is just a set of instructions
Not
built
really.
on a few core concepts that you input into a system that interprets those instructions to do exactly what the code tells it to do. If the
True.
code doesn't act the way you envisioned, well, it's not the computer's fault, it's the human
code.
error with the code, and then you have to do some debugging. But instead of just searching up your errors on Stack Overflow, I imagine debugging magic seals would be something like, oh, hey Timmy, you want me to have a look at your fire spell? It's not doing what you thought it would? Well, you just burned down the entire fucking village, Timmy. Yeah, thanks for that. It's gone. Your mom's dead. Yeah, how about you debug your life choices, Timmy? Oh, you want to learn about loops? Well, how about you loop yourself to the nearest orphanage, Timmy, because that's where you're going. But because... Wait. I just realized I unintentionally just repeated the plot of this manga with fire instead of rocks. But because the logic of this system is so defined, it enriches so much of the world and characters. Because instead of just telling us that this person is a genius witch or this person has a specialized skill set, we can actually see it ourselves through how they approach solving problems with their own knowledge of the magic system. Find it hard to accurately draw bigger seals? Well, maybe by combining the effects of a bunch of smaller seals and linking them together, you can replicate the effect of a bigger seal. Don't have a specific spell you need to identify ingredients in a potion? Well, how about you repurpose a destruction spell you saw earlier, but reverse the seals to conjure up the opposite effect and remake the core ingredients. Like different coders writing a program, there is no singular way to solve a problem, and by setting the rules of the system clearly, it sets the stage to breed creativity in a way that you can appreciate that goes beyond, this person is a power.
Just the more he talks about it, the whole magic systems and us getting enveloped in the whole magic systems, it's kind of interesting. I don't know if a lot of people would be dedicated or committed to knowing more, but hopefully the way it's executed in the anime is not as complex, or I hope it's just basic. Because yeah, like nowadays for us to give a damn about a whole world, the whole world building, the setting, and magic systems, the world gotta be good, man. The story's gotta be good. Her story gotta be good. Her story gotta be compelling. That's all I'm hoping for at this point.
For witch because he does magic good. I think the first time I truly appreciated this was when I saw some of the first major battles. See, as a witch, you have several approaches you can take, especially in a battle situation. Now, if you're less experienced, maybe you prepare a notepad with some pre-drawn all-purpose spells. It might not be as specialized for every situation you're in, but they're quick and easy to cast by just circling the spells that you need. Maybe you have a specific battle style where you just engrave the actual spells onto your clothing for permanent effects. If you're a little bitch baby. Now, if you want to see where the true experience and skill gap comes in, this guy bloody walks in and is accurately able to cast spells quickly on the fly without any pre-made books, assess the situation, then while blocking attacks, draws a counter spell with his fucking feet, flies towards the enemy, then based on the shape of his opponent's seal and the environment, is able to correctly deduce the exact way the opponent's spells work and initiates a counter spell based on its weaknesses. And it was at this point I've realized I have not been this engrossed with a fictional power system so intricately crafted since I first encountered Nen.
Yeah,
I do
Nen.
not say those words lightly. But beyond
Nen was a good one. Like Nen, the power systems of Nen. I remember Hunter x Hunter. Hunter x Hunter had a great power system. Unfortunately, it's just I feel like that show had so much potential. I hope it comes back. But one thing they do is they reduce. They must stop putting in fluff because they messed up with the ants, the big ant guys. They messed that saga up. Because if that saga wasn't there, the show would have been 10 out of 10. Because of that saga, I give it an 8. But yeah, maybe, who knows? I like power systems and all of that.
Just being a really cool way to show what characters are capable of, it's also from the system that all the major conflicts of this story arises, and we get the interesting moral dilemmas the series presents us with. I think the most interesting concept is the idea that absolutely anyone can theoretically cast magic. Given everything I've just laid out, I'm sure even you can conjure up a spell or two, and there was a point in the world's history where that was the case. However, give everyone unrestricted access to a tool that can help but also cause great harm to the people around them, and I'm sure everyone's only going to use it for the betterment of humanity like real life, right guys? The world was constantly embroiled in war. Spells that did unspeakable things were conceived. Dark rituals, tragic accidents, human experimentation, and other things became a normal part of the world. So one day, the leading governing bodies made a pact to change the world forever. Firstly, the entire population would have their knowledge about magic wiped from their memory, with only a few people, aka witches, being given the knowledge of how to cast magic, passing that knowledge down to only a few select individuals. Secondly, certain spells would be outlawed forever as forbidden magic with no exceptions. Spells that greatly alter the environment and spells that are drawn or directly affects the human body, except for memory wipe spells. This is the black and white justice system that governs the world. You have the normal law-abiding witches that uphold the rules of the world, and the shady
bad
green
ones
who practice the forbidden magic. Ooh, I don't know why I'm doing this. But as you continue the story, you start to realize, wait, who's got more of a point here? Why are the good witches trying to wipe the memories of innocent kids just trying to help out? Is it fair to keep doctors from practicing what is technically forbidden magic on humans when all they really want to do is to heal people and save more lives? Is it morally okay to keep the knowledge of magic to only a privileged few when it's a tool that can empower the lives of so many people? Because yeah, magic can be dangerous, but hey, maybe the only thing that can stop a bad witch with a wand is a good witch with a wand. Hell yeah, brother. Seeing our characters trying to find their place in this morally grey justice system is one of the big driving forces of what makes the world and characters so interesting. The magic of Witch Hat Atelier is just waiting for its anime adaptation to bring it to a whole new audience.
Oh, this is the trailer.
Much about the characters or overall plot progression or the amazing art and paneling or just how fantastic the world building is, but I think this is what's going to make it stand out so much, even with the influx of so many amazing fantasy anime we have to choose from right now. It's a series that takes something as ethereal as magic and gives it a sense of tangibility, and yet somehow doesn't take away that sense of wonder and awe. In fact, by allowing me to appreciate the mechanics, it makes the magic of the world even more magical. So yeah, if you need another fantasy world to dive into, go check out Witch Hat Atelier. Oh my god. It's a French word.
Who knows? That might actually be a good anime. Yeah, it seems pretty interesting. The whole magic and world building and all of that, it seems pretty interesting. My whole fear with a show like that is hopefully it gets like a strong 20 episodes, because I feel like nowadays 12 is a good number of episodes to hit an anime with, but 24 is like a great number where if a show has 24 episodes it might be really good. Some shows, I think after they reach episode 19, it's just too much, But this one, who knows how it can go. Hopefully there's a great director when it comes to anime adaptation. It's just about the adaptation from what we see in the book. Can it adapt into an anime? That's the main point, That's why I'm worried about shows like this. Who knows? It might be a great show, it might be a bad one, but hey, hopefully it is a good one. Seems pretty interesting. I liked how Gigak was explaining everything. Really nice. I like the vibes. It has vibes, I feel like I want to watch it right now type shit. But yeah, guys, that's my reaction. If you guys like my reaction, please like and subscribe. Tell me how you guys think. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.